Welcome back. Now, we're always waiting for payday, but a new salary access card launched by Mastercard in partnership with Hi55 Ventures will give workers real-time access to their pay as soon as they've earned it. Well, similar to a debit card, it will be issued by Railsbank and will increase financial freedom and flexibility and reduce the potential reliance on high-rate borrowing. So say the people behind it. That's Mastercard's UK and Ireland President, Kelly Devine, and Chief Executive of Hi55 Ventures, David Brown. Both join me now. Welcome to you both. David, let me start with you. I mean, a lot of people will say this sounds a bit like a payday loan service. What's the difference?
The difference is this is completely free to the employees. They don't pay to access their salary because at the core of Hi is actually the employees' well-being. And specifically in the current market, the employees are in very uncertain times and partners may have lost jobs, others may have been cut. So they may find themselves in very difficult positions as well as employers. So that's what's different. It's free to the employee.
And to be absolutely clear, there is no question here of employees accessing their money before they've actually earned it.
No, that would be debt. And we think that's against the employee's well-being. So it's only on what they've earned.
All right. So, Kelly, let me bring you in. What attracted Mastercard to get involved here?
There's some really interesting research in the marketplace. I think EY launched recently saying that between roughly 4 in 10 people in the UK and the US have a sort of expense shortfall between paydays. But we know from the CMA's research that shortfall is typically only around £100, so not necessarily a huge amount. The coronavirus situation, as with many other things, has probably made it worse. Again, some stats saying around 6 million people have missed a household payment because of COVID. So we see a real need in the marketplace for a solution like this, which, as you say, isn't about advancing salary. It's not about getting into debt, but it is about giving people access to income that they've already earned, if they need it to bridge those shortfalls.
Kelly, do you think this is going to be the way that people are paid in future? I mean, when you think about it, there's no obvious logical reason why people should be paid just once a month or once a fortnight, as they commonly are in the United States.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? If you're someone whose bills are pretty typically coming in monthly and your salary comes in monthly, then that makes sense and it's relatively easy to manage. If you're someone, and the world is kind of moving in this direction, the growth of the gig economy, etc. If you're someone where your income is perhaps more variable, or for some reason your bills are more variable, then I think solutions such as this one, we're definitely going to start to see them play an increasing role.
So Mastercard looking to take on these sort of models elsewhere around the world?
Yeah, we're a big sponsor, I suppose, of change and innovation. We're very, very focused on financial inclusion, and in the UK in particular, in the underbanked, very, very focused on enabling fintechs and bringing new solutions to the marketplace. So we're certainly seeing more solutions such as this one, trying to think of creative ways to help employees access their money, as soon as they've earned it, rather than waiting until payday.
Now, David, Greensill Capital, which recently went to administration, they obviously had a product very much like this for a lot of NHS trusts. Is that an area of work that you'd like to get into here?
Obviously, we think the public sector don't really need as much financial assistance right now as the private sector, but it is an area of interest to us because we see that as a large employer in the UK.
Do you worry that what's happened with Greensill and the accompanying row about David Cameron's lobbying for it, is that going to make it harder to pitch for government business in future?
Well, not really. I mean, platforms have survived every crisis, including the credit crisis. And we're not a funder, and nor are we a bank. We have several funders that are working with Hi, but we're remote from the situation that you mentioned, like Greensill, because they were a funder, and that's not a position that we would take.
Kelly, obviously, there are a lot of providers out there of services like this, of which Greensill was only one. What made you go with this particular one?
I think it's a really unique proposition. I think there's a couple of things that are kind of interesting about it. As we said, there's that very strong focus on serving the employee, making sure it's free to the employee, which is a sort of big commitment of Hi's, and the fact that it's about salary access, not about salary advance. But I think in general, I'd say Mastercard's position is really about supporting choice, optionality in the market, making sure that people have the access to the right solution for them. And I think this is, as I said, this is a nice new one to have in the market for those who who for whatever reason maybe don't want to borrow, can't access credit, or are finding short-term credit for low value perhaps a little bit expensive.
Kelly, while we have you, give me an idea of what you've been seeing in terms of transactions since the economy began to reopen last week.
Yeah, things have been improving. Things have been picking up, which is has been very, very exciting to see. We're seeing domestic growth, so spend within the UK has really bounced back very, very healthily. We're not yet quite at 2019 levels, but we're getting pretty close, which is great to see. Clearly, cross-border spends, particularly physical in-person cross-border spends, is lagging significantly down, and I think it's going to look like it's going to be late summer perhaps before we start to see that bounce back.
All right, well, that's a really positive note on which to end. Kelly, David, good to talk to you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ian.